So we move. When I move, he come and see me maybe like a month after, him and his dad, and I think a cousin of his. They come see the baby, and then he leave. And then I don't see him again until like several months later. He'll come see me, and it don't matter if I was talking to somebody or not. When he came to see me, I always had sex with him. But that's what it was. I would talk to other people. He still had his girlfriend when I seen him. We would have sex or whatever, and that's what it was. So, a year later, because my son was born in 2016, January. So in 2017, in March, and he came and he talked to me, and he was like, oh, I want to go out with you, this and this and that. I want to show you a good time. I'm not with her no more. I live with somebody else. Me and a cousin live together. Okay, so we go out one weekend in March, and I get pregnant. And I called him, and I'm like, I'm pregnant, and I don't want to be pregnant. And he like, oh, okay, Friday I'm gonna come get you, so we can go take care of that. And I'm like, okay. So Friday come, I never hear from him. Now this was in March. I didn't hear from him again until October. And the only reason why he came is because I had put him on child support for my son. And he came and was like, you put me on child support? And I'm like, yeah, I have a child with you that's 1 year old, and you don't help me do nothing. Okay. So then he asked me, like, when you do? And I'm like, in November. He was like, damn, next month. I'm like, yeah. He like, what you having? And I said, a girl. And he was like, dang, this gonna be my 5th girl. Mind you, when I met him, he only told me he had 3 daughters and a son. And I'm like, your 5th girl, I thought you only had 3 daughters. He's like, no, I got an older daughter in Georgia. And I'm like, damn, you ain't never tell me about a daughter in Georgia. Him like, yes, I did. I'm like, no, you didn't, but whatever. And then I tell him, this not your daughter. Because by that time I had went to the doctor, obviously, and the doctor was like, oh, you 25 weeks. And that point, I counted 25 weeks before that day. And I'm like, okay, so there were not the daughter, it's the other dude. So then I told the other dude, you the daddy. And he was like, okay, this and that, no problem. So my baby daddy was like, what? I'm not the daddy. And I'm like, no. He was like, oh, okay. So then I had my daughter, and the other dude who I told who was the daddy, he was like, he was helping me. And then when it came time to have the baby, like when I went to the hospital, I called him, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can get out of work because I gotta be to work 3 to 11, and I'm gonna see if I can get off. Mind you, it's like 2 o'clock. I call him. So I get to the hospital at 6. I call him. He was like, I can't get off work. I'm gonna come after work. And I said, okay. So I had my baby like at 6:30. He never came. I don't remember if it was that night or the next day. He sent me a long message saying, oh, he had a daughter with someone before, and it was 11 years later, and he found out that the girl was not his daughter, and he didn't want that to happen with me. I never responded to him, okay, you don't want to be a daddy? No problem. Leave you alone. And that's what I did. But then after I got out of the hospital, he started contacting me. He started helping me with the baby. Okay. When my daughter was about, let me see, I want to say 6 months old, I moved back with my sister. And then me and my baby daddy started bad talking. And he was like, he felt some type of way because, remember I told him he wasn't a daddy. And then, okay, let me back up. So then my daughter, like 5 months. And it was like, wait, she was born in November, December, January, February, March. So she like 4 months. So I went out with him again in March. And then I got pregnant again. So then this time I had an abortion. And when I went to have an abortion, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm like 4 weeks. Or, no, I think I was like, I told myself I was like 6 weeks. So then I go, and the day was like, oh, you 8 weeks. And I'm like, how I'm 8 weeks? I'm not 8 weeks, I'm 6. They was like, oh, right when you get pregnant, you already 2 weeks. So then I'm like, okay. So then I went back to when I got pregnant with my daughter. And I'm like, so if I go back 23 weeks instead of 25 weeks, then my baby daddy is my daughter daddy. So then I started explaining that to him, and he was like, he was like, oh, how I'm supposed to believe you? You told me that was my daughter, then you told me that ain't my daughter, now you tell me that is my daughter again. I said, I understand. And if you want to get in, if you want to do a DNA test, we can do that. And he was like, it's not that serious. And I'm like, well, it is, because I'm telling you, you're her daughter and you're the daddy and you don't want to believe me.